Good morning, this is Kuro. Got a tier 9 game, or a tier 10 game in my Tashkent, going over the matchmaking. Um, Only a Seattle for radar. Honestly, radar doesn't really matter with this boat. Destroyer-wise, though, we're looking at a Z-46 Kitakaze, which is a really big threat, and an Asasio B. The enemy team also has a Zhao, which would be a ship that can really punish me. This game starts out with me getting a little overextended, and the purpose of this video is not to showcase, damage, anything like that. It's how to get safe when you overextend. And basically what's happening is something that I see a lot with these teams. You can see it already. We're starting the lemming train to B, and this map you can't just give up one flank. If they've got a couple ships dug in here, it slows these guys down. Nobody up here, they roll right through here, and now all of a sudden the entire team's in a crossfire. So somebody has to go and try to at least delay this flank, and that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. I do have some backup with a Missouri and a Salem. And I've got a Turpit spotted, and I'm only looking to delay and harass, so I'm opening fire immediately. I want to know as far out as possible who can shoot at me. Typically guys will take shots earlier. I can tell there's a Minotaur there. Minotaur is not really a huge threat in and of itself, just because I'm able to, dodge most of his shots. Now this is the issue. This guy, the Kitakaze, pops up. The Z-46, they're inside my my spotting range. So I need to basically conduct a fighting withdrawal. You can see I've already popped my heal. I know I'm going to lose some hit points here. I'm trying to do a good job at evading. The Kitakaze's, just now starting to find his mark, and it's definitely time for me to make good my retreat. These guys kind of baited that I was going to fight them, and they kept broadside on, and then I used basically my speed with the speed boost to get outside their detection. And the nice thing is that Z-46, he has no repairs. I do. I'm just gonna bide my time out here. Right now, they're in a smoke screen. Nobody can detect me. And also my guns are better at longer range than either of theirs. So, just looking to keep harassing. I took way too much damage than what I wanted. Need to wait for my repairs. This Missouri pushes up. And again, just wanting to finish off targets, especially destroyers if you can get them. So I've got an Otago that's pushing into cap now. Just switching to him. But I'm still low. I don't want to, like, have a real serious fight with this guy. Just, again, harassing. My Missouri goes down, unfortunately. And my Salem is basically trying to strong point this island. But for whatever reason, he's not really going to last. And I'm already starting to think that I'm going to have to withdraw again. He's facing, you know, two tier 8 cruisers plus a tier 10 cruiser. And I think that Turpit's like completely fucked off from that initial engagement where I was shooting at him. I've been getting kind of unlucky with fire, so just switching to AP. I've got a broadside light cruiser. Even at this range, you can do some pretty good damage if you can hit the damn thing. And, you know, regarding my gun accuracy wise, because I took so much damage, I'm spending more time in free camera trying to, you know, see what's shooting at me and trying to dodge the incoming fire. To me, that's more important than the actual damage output at the moment. Our Salem pushes in, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna die here. There's just a lot of stuff that's gonna be able to wreck this guy whichever way he goes around the islands. So, Salem goes down, and now it's basically time to pull back. And I mean, you can see on this flank kind of what I'm talking about, where you've got a Conqueror out here and a Sashio, and yeah, my team's picked up B, but they're just kind of being bottled up right here. And in the meantime, if they would have had, you know, a battleship or two push up here, it starts to get really ugly for these guys. You basically park a battleship here, park a battleship here, and you start to get some really nasty crossfires, you know, all over the place. And that's really how you take this map. You get ships here, and if you can get a ship here, they're basically crossfired 3 ways. So all I'm doing right here, I'm just kiting away. I'm just throwing some Make-A-Wish torpedoes out there. Maybe they hit, maybe they don't. I think they probably don't have enough range. But what I want to do, I want to get in front of whatever's trying to cap C-cap. Our Kurfürst is making a good play, starting to come back. When the Baltimore starts to cut in to go to C, that's when I open fire. I want to try to distract this guy, pull him out of the cap, and you can see he's already starting to turn back to chase me. And right now, you know, it's critical that I stay alive here because I'm acting as a spotter for this Kurfürst. If he gets a line on these ships, he can punish them heavy, and, you know, that's going to help my team significantly. We're almost up to 1.7 million potential damage. And if you've noticed over time with my heals, I'm back up to basically a little over half HP. And that's the benefit of the heal versus the smoke. You're able to, you know, trade, and then if you can disengage a little bit, you can use those heals to regen and get stronger. At the same time, you're making ships that don't have heals, like especially destroyers, much weaker. And, you know, the engagements over time definitely favor you. Just trying to get some shots on that Kitakaze before he drops off. Unfortunately, don't land anything. I basically had tried to flood this gap, this area of the cap with torps. Unfortunately, don't hit anything. But, you know, still just harassing this Minotaur's kind of trying to bow tank. And just using AP right into his broadside. I want to make this as uncomfortable for the guy as possible.
Battery low.
Yeah, thank you. Throwing some make-a-wishes out here if this Zhao decided to try to push around that island. You know, the torpedoes on Tashkent, very much an aerial denial weapon. Don't be shy about throwing them out. They reload really quickly. They're pretty stealthy. They're okay torps. You know, use them to cover your flank if, you know, you've got, you know, an island that you think a ship might try to poke around or something like that. Just get them out there. I mean, you can see already, what are you looking at, 24 seconds still be reloaded? I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, you also use them for ships that you're kiting, like a destroyer's keeping you lit, just throw them out there. Maybe you hit the destroyer. Here, I know the game's pretty much winding down, so I'm getting a little greedy. Now, after this game, I basically was shooting at this Minotaur. I'm doing a little test to see how close I can actually Citadel the guy. And he was a little angled here up until this moment right here. He turns a little bit in, and bam, triple Citadel. I tried to get my back guns in before he turned, but that turn tells me he torped. And he turns out in front of my team and gets blasted. But basically with these guns, I was even doing the testing with Grozovoid to see just how far you've got to, or how close you've got to be able to Citadel, like a Des Moines. And I was kind of surprised that it's pretty damn close. Even with a Grozovoid, you're looking at 5 kilometers. So for these ships, you know, it's still gonna be, you know, 4.5 kilometers before you're able to Citadel of Des Moines. Now, Minotaur's a little easier. He was just giving me a little too much angle, just wasn't quite enough to get into the Citadel. So just a little bit of information about the guns. Now what I'm doing here, the game's winding down. I don't want to kill this guy. I haven't really been able to farm anybody. Everything's been, you know, destroyers and cruisers I've been shooting at. So I'm shooting at this guy mainly for damage farming purposes. From a competitive, I want to win as quickly as possible, I would be focusing down the Atago. But right here, I'm basically, you know, hanging it out there, trying to get as much damage as I can. And you can see just how much more damage I'm racking up right now. I know the game's probably going to end. Maybe somebody dies, throw some torpedoes out there. I know I'm likely to get hit hard when this guy shoots. But the game ends. And, you know, it kind of ends with, on its face, a disappointing, you know, 70k. But when you looked at it, still top XP, and it's because all the the destroyers and cruisers I was shooting, plus picking up the one cap. So you know, like I mentioned in the Udaloy video, the I ended up on that flank alone, but kept working on him. Eventually, I started getting some help in. We were able to clear out the cap, and I was still able to cap it. Um, so it's that kind of thing that that's what I'm talking about. The patience to take caps. I got focused down a little bit. I thought the destroyers would go into the cap, and instead, when they come out to play on the flank, which I think is a misplay because their team needed that cap. It took them forever to cap that. But because they came out to try to chase me on the flank, um, I took more damage, but in turn, if we were eventually able to kill the Z46 and really work over the Kitakaze, and that meant that they couldn't come out and try to contest that cap until much later when you know the the Missouri, the Salem was dead. At that point, I think it was even a cruiser that capped it, and the Kitakaze probably just dipped his toe in the water. Um, but it's those kinds of things that the heal gives you the flexibility. If I would have had you know just smoke, I couldn't play like that at all because I every hit point that I lost, I would not be able to get back. And I mean, this is a game I did 2.1 million potential damage. Um, and almost all of my damage was in the initial engagement from mostly the Kitakaze, the Turpitz. He got a decent hit on me once. Um, but it was mainly the Z46 and the Kitakaze that created the issue where I needed to kite out. And you know, everybody likes to say Russian destroyers, they're all about aggression, blah blah blah. They're not. These boats require the same amount of patience with your positioning that torpedo boats do with the hybrids. Destroyer play is all about patience. And the guys that I see complain about this ship, they're being too aggressive. They're pushing right in there. They're not understanding, when they need to disengage. Some people might think, oh, I've got to heal, I'll heal through it. Your hit point pool is not big enough for that heal to actually really mean that you can heal through something like that in one shot. You have to disengage, and you basically have to chew up the elephant, several bites at a time, and you're healing up in the meantime. And you use that system of attrition where when you get that respite where you can heal up and not be taking any damage, while the enemy team, they're still burning and they're on fire from your ship, your allies, all that kind of stuff. That's like maximum Russian gunboat theory right there. That's 100% working in your favor, and that's the synergy that you're looking for. That's how these boats work. So hope you guys enjoyed the game. I know it's not the most jaw dropping. Oh, look at my damage, but I thought this was a really solid game of. It showcases, ah shit, I got a little aggressive, took a bunch of damage, and shows people how to try to recover from that. I went from what should have been a shit game to top on the XP just by, playing smart, being patient, and I mean, looking at it right now, 126 HE hits, only 4 fires. RNG did play a factor in the low damage, but you know you can't always rely on fire damage. So regardless of the bad RNG, the taking early damage, um, yeah, this still turned out to be a solid game. 1900 base XP, that's a decent game. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really hope this helps some people. Tashkent, it's a ship that I I hear constantly people complaining about it. It is a solid ship these days. Um, so, hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you later.